Hey guys, and welcome to Smells Like Teen Angst. Today you've got book readers discussing Bridgerton Season 2. Here we go. Bridgerton Season 2 has dropped, and as fans of the book series, I brought Kiki and Maggie on. Kiki, introduce yourself. Say hi.
Hey y'all, I'm Kiki. I'm so excited to talk about this season of Bridgerton.
Maggie.
Hey, it's me, Maggie. I'm ready. I'm ready to.
She's ready. To be fair, Maggie's the one who got me to read this series because I loved season 1 so much, and Maggie loves smut.
I love it so much. So much. And I'm happy Sarah is finally joined the bandwagon of reading the books so that when she gets to certain parts of the book, she's like, oh my God. And I'm like, yes, it's different.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see the other seasons that happen.
So different.
I know. I feel like the Duke and I, right, season 1 of Bridgerton did a pretty decent job of staying true to the source material while still changing a handful of things to make it its own. But I really wanted to talk about season 2 because this season, they basically went, these are the names of the characters and we're going to tell a story. Right? But I want to know, before we super dive in, Maggie, what did you think of the season overall? Did you, coming from a book reader's perspective, did you love it, hate it? Generic thoughts, give them to me.
I'm generally a person who likes to stick to the source material. Sometimes people can do a better version compared to the book. I think the book is pretty good as is. So watching it, I kept kind of groaning. So I want to say I liked it, but I didn't love it.
I think that's fair.
But yes. However, the casting is great. Because sometimes I feel like the actors in my head are EGOTs. Let's just be honest. They are the best actors. Their faces are kind of muddled, but the acting is prime. Everyone's got everyone's Oscar worthy. So they at least casted very well for me to enjoy it.
Agreed. Kiki, I know everyone loves your review. You've been getting so many amazing compliments, but just in case they haven't seen your review, what just overall generic thoughts of the season?
I had to watch it twice. We all know that because I was like, the first time around, excuse me, how dare you? This is not what I asked for. This isn't what I signed up for. But second time around, throwing the book out of my head, throwing it away, I was able to see the chemistry and see the characters and see the love story. And I was like, I'm into this. And I think people can too. Is it different? Yeah. But is it bad? Not at all. Not at all.
No, I agree. I only watched pieces of that second watch through, and I was fine, totally fine with I was like, hey, we're adding things, we're planting seeds, the characters have the essence, because Kate's one of my favorites. I love a strong-willed, overly opinionated woman for absolutely no reason. And, and so I was like, Maggie. So I just love what they did with her, and I thought their banter was great, and I was waiting for an iconic moment from the book, and then I didn't get it, and then the rest of the season I was like, I can't, but I can't. Every time they were on screen together, I thought it was amazing. Their chemistry is phenomenal between Kate and whose name I have forgotten, and Jonathan Bailey, who plays Anthony. But there are a lot of significant changes. I guess one of which, it's not that significant, I don't really care, is the change of the name and making Kate and Edwina and Mary an Indian family. I love that. That's a huge change from the book. They're both one's blonde, one's brunette. They're both white, and they have a whole different last name. That didn't bother me. What do you think?
Not at all. I love that Bridgerton, since the beginning, has given us a world that we know doesn't exist, and that's fine. It's a television show, and the imagery and the situations aren't real anyway. So we can just let all that go and just fall in love with it. And it's nice to be able to see yourself in multiple characters in a show, or imagine yourself in that world, instead of shows that I watched like Downton Abbey, where I was like, I don't really belong here. I'd probably never be here, but I like the drama. Like Bridgerton, I could be a fly on the wall. I could be a Penelope. Like
I could be a pen. Speaking of Penelope, the biggest change at the end of season 1 was revealing who Lady Whistledown is, and we've known since the end of season 1 that it's Penelope. I love and don't love that change. So this season, she's going through a lot of things. Eloise is now out, which is different from the book. You know, she doesn't come out till the next one. And so she's dragging her through everything. Penelope cannot get her Lady Whistledown on. And we're now planting the seeds for her and Colin. So what do you think about that Penelope storyline the whole time through, Maggie?
Honestly, I love Penelope. Mm-hmm. I also just love Nicola. She is just adorable and sweet, and not gonna lie, the way she just looks and fawns, because she's like obviously 5'1", and the actor who's so playing cute. Colin's like 6'5". I don't know. The difference is significant. Someone needs to give her an apple box. But
can we pause? Can we just talk about Colin's glow up really quickly?
That goatee.
Why?
Colin walked in the door. I said, "Who is that? Who is that?"
Time has been kind. Time was kind. It's like a long bottom. It's a Neville Longbottom. I'm just saying. But he wasn't ugly. No. But he was like a little boy. Yeah. He was a little boy.
Now and he came back from his travels a man.
Greece taught him something.
About himself. Okay.
About himself.
Sorry, Maggie, go back to Penelope. I just had a moment of like...
Yeah, I loved Penelope because I feel like she was... This is the thing I thought was, she wasn't in it enough in season 1. Like, she was just like a sprinkled in, which I understood. And then I feel like you knew she was going to be in more season 2 because of the reveal. Because originally in the books, you don't know who Whistledown is until book 4.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 4.
Yeah,
so
Colin's book, yeah.
Yeah, I was like A-B-D, A-B-C.
I know. Daphne had to go first.
Yeah, Daphne, thanks. So I feel like it was going to be an obvious choice from a story, like from a writer's point of view. I totally understood she needed to be in it more. So I actually appreciate it. How it was done per se, I don't know if I loved the more added drama. The one thing about Shonda Rhimes is 10 out of 10, they're going to go crazy at the ham drama, right? Like we've seen Grey's Anatomy. We've seen How to Prepare for Murder. I don't remember what it's called.
How to Get Away with Murder? I got you, girl.
How to Get Away with Murder.
Private Practice.
How to Prepare for Murder.
Yeah. Star-crossed.
So I kind of hate how Eloise and, Penelope ended.
Fair.
I feel like I hate that because I feel like there's enough women hate on hate a little bit in this season, and not enough love. And that's why I had I know we're going to jump around, but that's why I had an issue with the whole sisters fighting. I needed I needed a pair of females to be each other's cheerleader.
Yeah.
I really needed it.
I feel like that's probably a big point to just straight up discuss. The sisters are completely different people from the book as they are in the story. Sure, they have the same frame as one's older, one's younger, but they've taken it a little bit further. They made Kate 26. She's 20 in the book and her sister's 18. It's not like she's so old, she's a spinster. She's just a little bit older for a debut. And they actually have a really good, endearing, loving, sharing back and forth in the book. Very much so where Kate's like, I want you to find love. And Edwina's like, but you should find love too. Okay, like we both
Mhm.
want this. And then Kate's very much like, no, I'm good. I'm fine, you know?
Yeah.
And that idea is there, but it's kind of just ripped apart by making Edwina more childlike to me. And I didn't like that.
That's why I texted you guys last night because I was like, this is how I feel. It reminded me of the sister dynamic from 27 Dresses.
Okay.
Mhm.
And that made me mad because it's like the older sister who absolutely adores and try to protects the younger sister, but it makes this little sister to not well developed as a woman. Instead,
Right.
she's still just a child. And I hated that kind of how she was written. Because in the book, Edwina wants to marry a man of intelligence and
Mhm.
still fall in love.
Mhm.
And that wasn't conveyed in season 2. Like she just wants to marry for love, not necessarily a smart man, just
Yeah.
a kind man.
I agree with you in this point. I actually didn't really think about it until you just said that. Like having Eloise, so spoiler alert, as this is a spoiler discussion, Eloise learns that Penelope is Lady Whistledown and is the person who's been writing all these horrible things. And Eloise writes something awful but truthful about, or sorry, Penelope writes something awful but truthful about Eloise in order to save her because the queen thinks it's Eloise. And she's like, what am I going to do? Start writing fake things in order to like, And so she did it from the right place. I agree. I don't love that. I don't love that they're ending them hating each other.
We technically didn't talk about how Edwina actually did have a love interest in the book.
Oh, she did. And she
Yeah.
kind of has one in the show and then he disappears. And that's who I think she should be with.
Yeah. What was his name? Thimbley?
Tumbly.
Tumblr?
I don't know.
Tumbly?
Tumbly?
Names are really hard when it's like the day after for some reason.
I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like what they did with Edwina in the series. I feel like she is much more interesting and it shows how smart she is. And I feel like she was just really such a throwaway character in the book as well.
Her speech to Kate was great. I thought that was a great monologue where she's just like, was it to Anthony? I'm so sorry. Where she's just like, you know, you have a vision of me and he has a vision of me. I need to figure out what kind of person I am and what my desires and what I want. I was like, honey, go get it. The only issue is, again, what I brought up earlier, is she was fighting with Kate, and I hate that. Like, I just wish she could have been like, you know what? I wish you had told me that you liked him or loved him or whatever. I can get over it, because obviously I want to love my husband. I want him to love me, and that's not going to happen with Anthony.
Right.
And then she'd be like, all right, I'm done with him. But instead, she's holding that grudge and just like angry for like a full episode. And I'm just like, ugh. I just hate that.
Yeah. And I haven't read the book, in a while, but I do remember when I read it that Edwina was actually happy for Kate to have found love.
Yeah.
And that happiness never came full circle at the end. It was just kind of a throwaway, like, I'm fine with it. And I'm like, no, I want you to be like, I love it. But it's hard because we changed the storyline. So the support is lacking because of the betrayal. And it's just weird.
Yeah, it was changed so severely. I also did really love that moment with Edwina and the Queen when the Queen's husband came out and he's having a dementia episode, and she speaks to him. And I thought that was such a lovely moment for her as well as a character.
I do love that they have Queen Charlotte and then having King George. Like, that's so great. Just more background of the time, world building.
So, yeah. And I love the way Lady Danbury gets used in the show. Because in the book, she's kind of just crotchety old lady who's at every party, hitting people with her cane and, gossiping. But, she orchestrates things in this series, and I'm here for it. Yeah. We all like a bell. We like the hierarchy of it. And it makes it more interesting.
I agree.
In that one moment where Lady Danbury and Violet like just start laughing because they're like, we're either I laugh or cry. And I'm just gonna laugh.
Talk about the peacocks. Like,
yeah,
I know. They're like, the birds attack people unprovoked, and I was like, girl.
Yes.
I've been chased by a peacock.
Yeah. And I wish that there was more female love in this season, which we weirdly got from Lady Featherington this season, which they gave the Featheringtons this crazy storyline, right? So like the father kills himself, which everyone's storyline now is nothing like the source material. So the father kills himself. That happens in the show. And now they're like waiting for the new heir, and they think it's gonna be like this old man, and it shows up to be Jack Featherington, who's super young, who has these gem mines in the Americas. And I actually do like that they did this like scheme together, right? Of like getting all the money in order to actually give them money because they have no money.
A Ponzi scheme.
Thank you. There it is. Yeah, it was a nice little
trying to do a Ponzi
pyramid.
It was an MLM.
Yes. It was an MLM of gem mines. But the way that whole thing went down, the way that whole thing goes down with the mom and Jack, that's the first time I have ever liked Lady Featherington in the entire series of books or show.
Only up to that point, though. She's still a terrible person.
Terrible.
Yes.
Like, non-redeeming. Like, she cares about her first two daughters more than she does about Penelope. And it's just like, I have a lot of love for Penelope, obviously. But it's also like fairness. If you're going to have 3 kids, love them 3 ways, but she doesn't. And
yeah. And I hate the storyline of like favoritism amongst children.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it firsthand. I haven't experienced, but I'm like, I have a mom and we've tried to catch her slipping many a times, been like, I'm your favorite, right? And she'll be like, I love you all the same. So it's just like, why hit your children against each other? It's not cool. And you're ignoring like the most talented kid you have. Like Penelope's the best.
Yeah, I love Pen. And I've seen people say they don't like Penelope and think she's an awful person, but I disagree wholeheartedly. I think she's just doing what she can in this society that rejects her. And this is her therapy and the way she's coping. And I hope that they redeem her in the way that the books do. Once, it reveals who she is.
Yeah.
Agreed. Because I feel like as of right now, she is literally going to be the villain of season 3. It feels like.
Yeah.
She's like, Eloise is going
like, screw all y'all. I'm back. You thought I'd be quiet? No, not today. No. Not today.
Not today, Satan.
What do you think of the love story that they gave Eloise, which does not exist in the book at all? With her and that cute boy.
I'm for it 100%. I know maybe not every book reader would agree with me, but I do not like Eloise's book by far. It knocked the strength out of her as a person and a character. And Eloise in the show and in the books is very much who she is. She just wants to be educated. She's down to like ride alone in life, and that's okay. But her book rushed her to the altar in a way that I never, ever would have imagined for her. So Eloise having this step out story is really a good way to give her momentum back.
I'm here for it. Give me a Sybil love story. If you know Downton Abbey, Sybil falls for the little footman. They get married. It's a great thing. I would rather that for Eloise because Sir Philip is a piece of garbage and she deserves better. And we've now met officially Sir Philip when Colin has to go and talk to that girl for like a second to get his own closure. So then that she could be
Marina.
like, Penelope's in love with you, to him. And I was like, you mean Sir Philip? I was like, ugh, are we supposed to be excited about that? Because I hate him.
I don't know.
I just want to address that Sarah's hate is true because she texted me the entire time she was reading Eloise's book every few hours. Are you kidding me? No, honey. Eloise's book is not my favorite either. I wholeheartedly agree.
Like they've ruined her as a character.
They
They gave her a
destroyed.
garbage man. And maybe maybe he'll be better, but I can't. Don't put this strong woman with this garbage man. Don't do it. Don't do it. Anyway, sorry. I feel passionately about it, obviously.
And that's the only one book I have to say, like, I'm not looking forward to if they make it into a season.
Mhm.
So I kind of hope, to go back, the reason why I say that is because that's why I loved the Theo Sharp storyline, because it came out of nowhere.
Mhm.
And it makes more sense if she kind of had her heart broken a little bit beforehand, to actually have fallen. Let's say she did fall in love with him. I don't know, whatever. She had definitely had a hard crush. He was adorable.
He's adorable.
liked
They
to
were
read.
cute. I loved them.
A man who likes to read, that's the dream, right? Just hang out and just read.
Who believes in women's rights?
A feminist in the
A
1800s?
feminist?
Oh my God.
I know.
Anyways, love him. Great. Like, he was really cute. That the actor that played him as well.
Mhm.
So if he goes into the next season as well under Benedict's storyline, I'm here for it. And I can see, like, if she gets her heart broken in season 3, how she would go to Sir Philip, why she starts writing to him.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Marianne or whatever her name is. Whenever that
Marina.
happens. Marina. I mean, the girl seemed happy, so her postpartum is a lie at this point. Because we all know she's supposed to have postpartum depression, but she seemed all
I mean,
right.
a show's a show, though.
True. Yeah.
She could just be putting it on, like, this is my bed. She very much said, like, this is my bed, I lie in it. Like, go do your own thing. Mind your own business.
Goodbye.
She very much let Colin know that she's grown now. And because she had twins and kids, and she's a mother, and she's married, and she's now Lady Crane, like, it's not anything that it was when she was prancing around balls with some guy,
Yeah. What do you think about the seeds planted for Benedict? Because I feel like he was such a throwaway character this season. They didn't really know what to do with him because he wasn't going to orgies. He wasn't, he's like, I'm going to go to art school. And he goes to art school. And then he leaves art school and ends up at his like cottage cabin that he, lives in and meets Sophie. So
his cottage. Okay, so I have to start with, did we ever find out why he and the modiste break up?
No, no. He was like, "Oh, am I going to see you at the party?" And she's like, "No." And they're like, "I guess I'm not doing that anymore." They were like, "Look, COVID ended our sexiness, so there's no more orgies for you. Anthony cannot show anything but butts. We can't show how." We'll get to Anthony's changes, but.
Yes, I agree. Benedict
was like banging around orgies. He's not doing shit.
But I agree. Benedict was kind of a throwaway character. He was even like, example, that one episode, that moment where Eloise was going to go to the ball and she's like, I don't want to go. And Benedict's like, we can go together.
Yeah.
Okay. Where did this come from? You did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he saved her from that creepy dude. He was like, nope, and we run away. And I thought that was really funny.
I do want to sidebar. I really hope, because you guys discussed how we didn't mind the Sharmas being turned into an Indian couple or people. We rephrase that. The ethnicity was changed.
Yeah.
I would love Sophie to be of Eastern Asian descent.
We said
Thank you. Me too.
Okay.
I think it'd be perfect.
I think it'd be perfect because my thing about the show is it's a little white and black. I mean, there's nothing wrong about that. There's like a splash of Asian here. I haven't really seen Latino or Latin or South American descents, which I think we need to change. If Pedro Pascal showed up, you know what I'm saying?
From like an Italian man,
but like we know that we're going to be focusing on the brothers, these books that are coming.
Right.
And I'm just like, give me South Asian, give me Thai, give me Chinese, give me Japanese. I'll accept any of it. But like, please, 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 like, like, why waste? There's an abundance. I'm ready for this to be that person. Okay.
Yes. I'm not gonna lie. If we do our own like pick the perfect actor for the couple next seasons for the love interest, I'm here for it. I'll send you some photos.
Send me some
I'll Google some
choices.
stuff.
We'll get it up. We'll make a list. We'll make a video. We'll ask everyone watching, like, who would you love cast as Sophie? Let us know in the comments because it's coming. And I think they could easily
imagine.
Yeah, I think they could easily combine
Blow the candle.
Benedict and Eloise into season 3, but we'll see.
Mhm.
I agree, especially since we hate Eloise's story so much. But however, Benedict is one of my favorite books. It's Benedict and Francesca's.
Yeah.
So
you know I love Francesca's. Let's not play.
Francesca's was real steamy.
Benedict's I like because it is a Cinderella story. I love any form of Cinderella story. I'm talking about Ever After, Memoirs of a Geisha. Like, give me all of them. I like them. But Francesca's book, I don't know how that's going to fit into this world because that was pure smut. Okay. I know Maggie's here for it. But I'm just like, I don't understand how that's going to make a translation to TV.
Season
But
1.
They were the
Season
first.
1.
They were the first.
Season 1.
Season
I
1.
know. But as someone who, I read the books because I liked the show. I know Sarah was reading them with Maggie. And my biggest complaint is that like the sex was never sexy enough for me. And then we got to Francesca's book and I was like, oh, okay, that's some sex. But then I'm like, but that's a lot of sex, you know? But a lot of Bridgerton because of the age and the time. It's very deflowering virgins, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And that's just not my kink. Okay.
I hate that trope. It's not my thing. So that's why when Francesca, each book's different, but like when it came to Francesca and like this is her second lover, I was like, yes,
it is. Yes, it is. She's learned what she needed to learn, and she's here for Michael. Okay. But let's talk about the sex of this season because a lot of that shit was changed too. First of all, let's talk about Anthony, who is supposed to be the rakiest of the rakes, right? When we were introduced to him in season 1, he was banging a girl against a tree. That's how we met him. And now in this,
well, he was on his way to an appointment. Okay.
He just had to get it in for a second. And then in this, we get a montage. Like we know he's like, I've decided I have to be responsible now, and I'm gonna find a wife. And that's his whole shtick. But he's still a rake in the process. Are you kidding me? So like we see a montage of him like sleeping with women, but literally waking up after sleeping with them and paying them. We see his butt for like a half a second. I was like, no, Jonathan Bailey does really great on-scene sex scenes. And I'm very upset that they didn't do that with him. And one of my favorite scenes from the book is cut from the show. And it's not even like a super sex scene. It's just a character scene where they're at the ball and Kate sneaks away to the library and he comes in with the opera singer because he's getting ready to bang her in the office and she's like hiding in the corner, right? And like that whole scene, it's like when he kisses her. Anyway, where is that man? That man, they just kind of went, you no longer exist. Where's that man?
Yeah. That's true. But they have dialed back on who Anthony is. And I don't know if it was quite necessary. There are some things I liked about the show. I do think that they helped develop his character, but giving him more backstory and like make me care about him a little bit more because reading the books alone, like I don't know who Anthony is. I just know that he's a hoe. And in the show, I'm like, he's a hoe with a heart, you know?
Yes, I just feel like he was so muted compared to season 1. Because in the book, because his book, the reason why he wants to get married is because he thinks he's going to die soon.
Yeah, he's going to die young like his dad.
So I liked that because, like, let's be real, I question my mortality all the time. My choices, I'm like, did I have to do that? And so I feel like that was kind of missing because you do feel like he wants to get married because it's his duty. And that was the only reason even to the very end with Edwina. Like, it's because it's our duty. We have to get married.
Right.
In the book, I liked how he's just like, I'm going to die soon. So I have to get an heir.
Yeah.
And I thought that was more interesting.
I agree.
And also, yeah. In season 1, he was more fun too. Let's be real. He was like crazy for Daphne to get like, don't do stupid.
Yeah.
But I'm doing stupid.
He was ready to kill his best friend in season 1. Like, that's where Anthony was at mentally. He was banging an opera singer.
Yeah.
And was upset that he couldn't like marry her. He's like, but you could be my whatever. But I do love that they didn't change how the father died, but they changed Anthony's story with it. Because in the book, he's not there for it. He's off with Benedict, and then he comes home and sees Daphne crying in the middle of the floor and is told their father died. And in this season, he's like on this hunting trip with his dad, and he's picking hyacinths for his wife who's pregnant with Hyacinth. And it happens in front of him. And then he has to deal with everything with his mother and her grief. And he's like barely 18 years old. It added so much to him.
Yeah, it added definite levels of, okay, you stepped in as the patriarch of this family and you were not ready. You were a child. And Violet, who is the queen of everything, very much knew you were a child, but she couldn't take that away from you. And, you know, you were forced into this lane, and she tries to control as much as she can, but she can't capsize someone who has to carry that title at one point in life.
Yeah. And he has
one of my favorite, sorry.
No, go ahead, Maggie.
I was just going to say, one of my favorite scenes of his is definitely when Anthony is talking to Gregory.
I
feel like there's more moments like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, your father is the greatest man I've ever met. And also the point when he's like, we have no one at this ball, the last ball they host.
Loved
and he's
it.
like, listen. And he dances with his little sister. There was good moments, very good moments
that were added.
However, I think I do, like, this is just like an over like thing for me. I wish there was more of those, but sooner rather than later.
Yes.
In the story.
Yes. The whole show needed to scoot up about 2 episodes. And you know, because I kept saying when watching it, I'm like, how long? These episodes have to be longer than season 1. And they are not. They're the same length, but I swore that they were longer. And it's just because nothing happens for the first like 6 episodes out of the 8. Like, nothing happens.
That's also because we read a book and we were promised kisses, and it was so much breathing on each other that our hearts were like, can you just put the mouse on the mouse?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, because they do have a lot of that in the book of the back and forth. But as soon as the bee sting happens, which I am also mad about, because like we get to Kate and Anthony, and I was like, the bee sting. Anthony literally thinks she's going to die because there's bee venom, because his father died of a bee sting. It's like here on her chest, and he is like sucking it out in hopes. And then Lady Featherington is there along with their parents. And then they are the ones caught in a compromising situation that honestly, if Lady Featherington wasn't there, this whole thing would never have happened. The mothers would have been like, shh, it's fine. But they're forced then to be married. He's like, yes, we will get married. And also at that point, we had so much interaction with them in the book to understand why he was really in love with her, and she was too. He was constantly daydreaming about her, and he kissed her already. And, you know, like they had these moments by the tree.
And then he sucked bee venom out of her titty.
Yes. I was like,
I'm sorry. I know you were let down by the bee sting, but can you imagine how ridiculous that would have been on camera, girl?
Yes. That's
what she wants. As someone who's actually sucked out a bee sting out of someone else on their chest, I've actually done this. It's not sexy. No. Because you gotta spit it out, and it's usually blood.
Yeah. You're like, well, it's not great. But I will say, I think the thing that they got right is the chemistry between the 2 actors, and every moment they were together was fire and sparks. Like when she tells him off, right? After he has his like locker room boy talk, and she hears it, and she was like, "You think way too highly of yourself, and you can't ride a horse for shit." I was like, correct. Yes. Yes. And like every moment since then, like when they go to the house and they're like talking about the dog and they're like having their back and forth, and Daphne comes over and mistakes her for Edwina. The whole Pall Mall game, and like their like sweet little connection that they turned into the mud scene, which I feel like they took a lot of moments from the book and just shoved it into there. Hunting. Yeah. All of those moments of like, so good. They were so good.
Yeah, the actors themselves, you could tell they liked each other.
Mm-hmm.
So then the sexual chemistry was actually well done. Mm-hmm. And they're also very good looking separately. So together,
stunning.
Like, yeah, I watch it.
Oh my God, the first time we see Kate, I love that. I love this change that they didn't just meet randomly at a ball and she'd been reading Lady Whistledown, right? I love that they met while she's like stunning. Her head flips back and she's just like, what? You know, while riding the horse. And then they have like a little mini race and like their banter back and forth from the get. Like, I loved that. I thought that was a great meet cute for them versus the one we got in the book. I think that was a better choice. 100% a better choice.
Neutral ground.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Loved it.
But also, let's be real, Shonda Rhimes knows how to cast, or like her team knows how to cast good sexual chemistry. Ooh.
Yeah, they do. Hey.
Yeah, I mean, I was here for the sexual chemistry. It was palatable, okay? But that's also why I was so mad that we ripped so many of the sexy scenes out of season 2 because the book had an abundance. And well, not an abundance, but it had more. And I just felt like, is this all we get? I mean, I did say quality is better than quantity, but when you see it, you're like, that's so good. Why couldn't we at least have one more? Like, did I really? And then it's all the way towards the end of the season. So it's like, I watched so much of this show for this.
Well, how did you like that sex scene? Like, how did it like come to, like, since it was the only one?
I liked it. I'm not gonna lie. I liked it. I felt like they were true to their characters and the way it started, you know.
Go away. I will never do anything.
I'm never gonna do anything you say. Yeah, like it was hot. It was fun, but it wasn't it wasn't enough.
Yeah. So my thought on the sex scene is they only gave us one and they cut it in half. We didn't even get the full thing. And I feel that the remembrance of it, like the recap, was hotter than the initial sex scene that we got. That's what I think.
That's because they gave us the best moments of that sex scene
in the remembering of it. Yeah,
exactly.
But they could have given it, like, I really wish, because throughout the whole series, and this is how they could have added sexiness, right? Is they constantly daydreamed about each other. They constantly, especially Anthony, kept dreaming about her and daydreaming about kissing her and touching her and caressing her. That they could have just added those in. It would have cost them 10 seconds. And they could, you know what I mean? Like, and it would have added to like so much of the tension. Who am I? I don't know.
You're a genius.
Thank you.
Just a woman who wants more sexual tension is what you want.
Yeah, I don't need the full-on thing that we got with Daphne and the Duke, because honestly, I didn't like those sex scenes, as Kiki said. Quality over quantity for sure. I thought Daphne and the Duke had zero chemistry. I didn't like I thought Reggae Jean Page, I hope that is not the best representation of you in bed, because bro, I don't want to sleep with you. Like, watching it. You know what I mean? Like, terrible. Nobody Anthony, I wanted to sleep with him. You know what I mean? Season one.
Well, knowing that Anthony is not on my team because I've seen the precedent.
Jonathan Bailey is
and I'm still looking at this like,
it makes me sad.
Yeah, but I wouldn't mind experimenting. It's fine.
I mean, obviously it worked out,
right?
You know, and then we get that like, and also poor Daphne, who's I named. If you watch this channel, you know I'm terrible with names. The actress who played her, Phoebe Denever, was like full on buck naked her whole season, butt naked, titties out, vagina out, butt out, you know. And then we get like one little nip slip of Kate, and not that I need a bunch of naked ladies, but I just feel like what an unfair thing for this actress.
Well, season 1 versus season 2, like it's already established, like the audience is there, so we not necessarily need some needles, but I do think they needed to think about more Anthony butt. You know what I mean?
I mean, he's got a great butt.
I mean, he's got a great butt. He's a very attractive man. I mean, we got a Benedict butt, but like, does he have a following
Even
yet?
a chest shot or two, you know, we just really didn't get much of him.
No.
Also, I know this is Netflix.
And we know he looked good from when he got thrown in the water in this season. I was like,
can we talk about that for a second?
Yes, absolutely.
As someone who watches a lot of this kind of genre, like films and TV, like I've watched a lot of BBC. Like like. So, are we trying to do Pride and Prejudice there, Taming of the Shrew, like?
This is. I love a Taming of the Shrew story. I love 10 Things I Hate About You. I love this book. You know what I mean? Like, give me Kate, kiss me, Kate. It's a great musical.
It's a great musical. But like you guys said, we could use a little more sex, but it's also Netflix. I know there's schlong on Netflix.
Have you seen Sex?
I didn't watch it. That's the show you told me about to watch. You told me just watch every episode. There's going to be a schlong eventually. It's going to show up. Yeah. So why couldn't we have?
And those sex scenes and those sex life sex scenes are very explicit. Like, I don't need explicit. That's not what I need. But you set a precedent with season 1. And I mean, are we going to chalk it up to COVID? I don't know.
They're in each other's faces anyways.
I know. So like, but that scene like should have been moved up 2 episodes. You know what I mean? They should have added the daydreams of him wanting to kiss her and caress her and like all that stuff. And it would have just like added just little nuggets throughout. And then how dare they not give me a wedding? How dare they not give me?
And the thing is, no weddings, because not a single wedding was a wedding. We had Prudence with her little, whatever happened in the living room.
Yeah.
We had Edwina.
They had no money
at the altar. And then no ceremony. And then cut to the end, flash forward, Kate and Anthony are married and we didn't see it. So I'm just like,
yeah.
I don't know what you expected. All of these end in betrothal. Like, where's my wedding?
Where's my wedding?
Where's my honeymoon?
Maybe their budget was cut.
Dude, I don't even know. Like, and like before let's talk this crazy story change, right? So like I said earlier, the bee sucking thing happens and then they're betrothed and Edwina just kind of goes, cool, I'm gonna move on, and she kind of disappears from the book, right? In this, they completely change it where she's like in love with Anthony, and Anthony's obviously not in love with her. He kisses Kate before the wedding, and the fact that Anthony was still gonna go through with it, I think completely goes against him as a character, but that's a whole other thing. So then you have this moment where Kate's fiddling with her wedding bracelets that her mother gave her and it falls and they have I'm like, everyone can see you. Everyone can see you at the wedding, because she drops it and Anthony comes down to like pick it up for her. And that's when Edwina, like it all clicks. And then we have the sister fight of the ages of this like betrayal where it wasn't a betrayal. And I feel like if they were going to do that storyline, it should have been Like Anthony and her should have more should have happened besides some glances and a barely kiss. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I just don't love that they, as we talked about, pitted sisters against each other for no reason other than to tell a story that's been told a million times. And
Just drama for drama's sake.
Yes. Drama for drama's sake with no stakes, because they still had Kate get in the accident. And then as soon as that happened, her sister's like, all is forgiven. I no longer care. If you want to be with him, be with him. You deserve to be happy.
Well, see, my confusion lies in, I almost feel like someone read all the books and then they story carded out like, okay, this is how this person gets married. This is a scene that was really cool in this book. And then they decide, let's just move shit up and change the characters. Because this is like, Gregory runs to the altar for the girl he loves with and breaks up a wedding. And the orangery scene is in Gregory's book or Hyacinth's book, something like that. So I'm just like, we're changing characters. We're using the same scenarios that I've already walked through in my brain, but for why? Like, what does it buy us? What does it give us? Other than drama for the sake of drama.
Yeah.
And also, like, as we keep saying, this should have been tightened a little bit more, because then I feel like, yes, they like each other and they have lust for each other, but do we actually believe that Anthony and Kate love each other? I don't believe that.
Not yet, because they cut every scene that grew from the book. Like when I was first watching it, and they got rid of Kate being terrified of thunderstorms, which I was like, oh yeah, terrified of thunderstorms, whatever. And then I was kind of like, for this review, going back through the story a little bit just to refresh my mind, because I haven't read that book in like 6 months, and my mind, there's only enough storage. So that I actually was like, dang, that scene is actually really important for their connection, because she's in the library, she can't sleep, the storm is happening, she's having a panic attack, and Anthony comes in and takes care of her. It's a very selfless moment for him and a true connection moment between the two of them that makes it much more real than just lust for me.
I absolutely agree. I kind of missed that, because I feel like that was a moment, like you said, Anthony, you realize he's not selfish. He really is about taking care of others. Mm-hmm. And he wants that. He wants to take care of his wife. He just doesn't want his wife to fall in love with him. And
right.
And I feel like they keep showing that in the show, but like they don't really hit the head on it, because it's like, that's a reason why his mortality keeps coming into question in the book. And that's why I kind of feel like some of that needed to be told.
Yeah, that was my thing. I was like, him just marrying for the sake of marrying to, fulfill a duty isn't enough to warrant this battle he's going through. Where very much so in the book, it is the idea of mortality. And the reason he is marrying just for the sake of marrying is because he doesn't want a woman to go through what his mother went through, losing her husband. And he's like, ticking time clock, I'm gonna die young like my father too. A bee's gonna probably kill me too. So I definitely don't want a wife who's gonna fall apart when I'm gone.
Yeah, I agree.
It was a self-preservation thing, and that's not seen in this season. And then I'm just gonna say it. I like your idea of the flashbacks that they should have done, but
yeah,
the daydreams. He's constantly daydreaming.
He's constantly daydreaming, but I think that those daydreams and like the things he spoke of in the book also add layers to why you're attracted to someone or love someone. Like the lily soap. We hear it like once, and it's really not alluded to, and he has that like magnificent sniff in the show. But
when she walks by, he's like,
only once though.
Only once though. And like the thing is, he is in love with the way she smells. Like that's one of the things. He can smell her coming from fucking mile away. Yeah. Like
he knows where she's been and where she is and where she's going to be, because he can smell her.
He's gonna tiptoe because he's a semi creeper. But again, how many episodes are there? Like 8?
8.
Yeah. This should have been episode like 5, and then 6, 7, 8 should have been them actually the wedding. It should have been the love, and then actually the bangarang, Peter, bangarang.
Bangarang Peter.
Bangarang Peter. Episode 8 should have been all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't get that.
No.
I also felt season 1, they gave us a tiny bit of epilogue. Even if it was like a minute, we saw Daphne have a baby. We saw things come together at the end. We have none of that, which does exist in this book, in every book for every kid. And I was like, that's it. We're just out here playing pal mal and all of a sudden we're married. Like, that's not really an epilogue moment.
No, I agree. Like, it ends so abruptly. And I'm like, they better be in season 2. Because if they're not in season 2, you don't give me more of them actually together, I'm going to be rude. So thank you. Season 3. Season 3. I'm going to be even more upset. Like, I get emotional and then things leave my brain.
Like numbers,
names.
But this season went so slow that by like episode 5, I was like, oh my God, did they get renewed for like 16 episodes? Like, are they doing a part 1, part 2? Because Netflix loves to do that. They love to split up the show and make you work for it.
They do.
They also like to cancel stuff though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
but this show has been renewed up to season 4 at this point. And Shonda has said she would love to do 8 seasons because there's 8 Bridgerton children and 8 Bridgerton books. Well, I guess there's 9 if you want to count Violet, who is still the MVP of this series and the MVP of the book series for me, because she's just an amazing character and an amazing mother who is not afraid to regulate her children and always drops the most beautiful moments and knowledge nuggets on her kids. Like, I loved that scene with her and Anthony by their father's grave when she's like, it hurts me that, you find love to be your greatest weakness and not your greatest strength. And you kind of learn more about Anthony's like, well, I don't want to ever be the source of that pain. And I never want to feel that pain again, which adds another little bit of layer to his choices. But she's just so amazing this season. So amazing.
Mm-hmm.
She should be in every episode. And she is the voice of reason. She is the person we follow. Because she also, I thought it was kind of interesting because in the book, she saw herself, the whole situation of Anthony falling in love with Kate.
Yeah, she saw it, just like Daphne. Everyone saw it. Like,
everyone saw it.
But I thought it was interesting that Daph saw it before the mom. I always thought Violet was the one who saw everything. She is like, she's that Marvel character. Like, what if they see all the Watcher? Violet is the Watcher. So that's why yes. Yeah. She's the voice of reason. Like, she is the reason why I kind of enjoyed reading the books, because she was always the last chapter of like talking to her kids of like, listen, you're messing up. Let's figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
I did want to discuss, how did you guys feel about the whole the gossip going against the Sharmas and the Bridgertons? Like, that didn't happen. Like, everyone turned against them.
No, I appreciate the added storyline of why the Sharmas are in the town. I thought that gave them a reason to be there rather than just like a new family. And then we get Giles, jumping in at a dinner table, and that dinner was amazing. And Anthony kicking them out of the house was great. But then having the whole town completely turned against the strongest family of the city, I thought was actually a really brave, bold move, and I did not hate it. I actually thought it was humbling to them.
It was, and it also kept in mind that they're in line with the queen. Remember, they didn't just shun, people of the town, mess up a little town wedding. This was a royal wedding that they ran out on, So everyone's like, you wasted our time. We showed up for our queen. We were at a palace. We're dressed to the nines. I spent money to be here. And then you don't even get married and I'm eating cake at 2:00. Like, why?
What did you guys think of that kind of not like final dance scene when everyone, everyone knows that Edwina and Anthony are not going to get married, and him and Kate just like aren't together quite yet, and they have their dance. And like everyone's trying to turn against them, but then Edwina is like, I think they look beautiful. And then the queen's like, I said they shouldn't get married.
It was fine. Like, it was kind of, You know,
I
when
mean,
you have
women.
like a rap out, like, all right, let's get it going. Yeah, they're cute. Look at them dancing.
It was a means to an end. I think it would have been more dramatic to see those two dance because, you know, she's already forcing her sister, oh my God, go hunting with him. Oh my God, talk to him, whatever.
I need you
So,
to
like,
like him.
to have that dance take place earlier in the season and get that chemistry,
Yeah. And
oh
the
my God,
town talking, way better.
way better. To have this speculation of like, oh, it broke up because her sister's a hoe. Like that would have been something other than secret, shh, shh, let's turn sisters against each other.
Yeah.
Like it never quite got as far as I thought they were going to take it.
Yeah. Like if you're going to do that storyline, you need to do that storyline, you know?
Yeah.
I do love that the song, because, you know, we get our classical covers, was Wrecking Ball. So
Poignant.
it was, you
Yeah.
know, it had a message and it was correct. She did come into his life like a wrecking ball. And this is what happened.
The covers were good this season. I'll give them that.
Yeah. Material Girl for the, you know.
We had some Harry Styles. It was all.
Yeah.
You Ought to Know was in there.
Oh, yeah. You Ought to Know was in there.
Didn't we have Rihanna?
Yeah. We had Umbrella. Or Diamond. It was Diamond.
Diamonds.
I swear that one opening cover is a Nirvana song. The one that like sets the tone. Because also that's something I did enjoy too, is that the tone of season 2 is very different, right? Because season 1 is shown through the eyes of Daphne. So everything's bright and exciting and new and like luscious and glamorous. And now it's being told through the eyes of Anthony. So everything's a little bit more like chaotic and ugly, and you know, and I kind of liked that. It took me a minute to realize that's what they were doing, but once I understood, I was like, this is really smart. But I don't know if everyone's going to catch that. So, but
I didn't catch that.
now that I said it, does it make sense?
It does a little bit more for his scenes, obviously.
Yeah.
Because when it was not his character or like the other family, like the Featheringtons and all that, it was a little bit calmer.
Anything he was in, it was shot ugly. Everything was like a little tilted, you know.
And
everything was tight a little bit more.
Yeah, a little tilted, a little tight.
The balls weren't as like lovely.
No. The clock, that was a huge thing. It was a ticking time clock for him. His father had it. His father was really punctual when we met his father and saw the death. And that is the same watch that Anthony's carrying around and checking constantly. Yeah.
So I do like those changes that they did for that. I thought that was very cool. So I'm curious what is season 3 going to be super artsy because it's Benedict? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are they going to do for that?
Have you seen the movie What Dreams May Come? I hope it's just like one.
I love that movie.
Is it like that kind of like template, like that palette? Oh my God, it's just like every color splash. Hell is a beautiful black gray that's cracked. Oh, it'd be beautiful. But obviously,
literally one of my favorite films, but mostly because of the art, and it actually correlates to like actual famous artwork.
Yes.
And it's stunning, and it's a story of soulmates. But yeah, that would be cool, but it might be expensive.
It's never going to happen.
It'll never happen.
But
maybe like one scene
with our Asian Sophie.
Oh my God, it would be so great.
I can't wait.
It better be.
They bet not disappoint us.
I know. I do appreciate that the ending is similar enough. She gets in an accident, and that's how he realizes he's actually madly in love with her and has his confession.
Yeah, but he never showed up when she was out. Like,
yeah.
I thought that was really shitty. I really think they should have had that happen. But he's like, I was afraid of losing her. I was like, yeah, but that should be the catalyst of why he's there.
Yeah,
that's my issue. So I don't want to keep saying like negative things, but like there was things that could have been tweaked, like a different, like why did they choose this way to write it except this way? Because like if he didn't want to lose her, why didn't he show up for her?
Right.
Exactly. I think it would have been more powerful him being the person that brings her there after the accident, discovering it, and is the person who waits outside her door until he hears her breathing in. Like,
well, he's the first face she sees when she wakes up. I think that makes a more dramatic and more poignant, like, love.
Yes.
Because love wasn't, like, I didn't feel like they loved each other. Like, you can like and lust each other, like, to get married in this time and age.
But it felt lackluster, him showing up and being like, no, I didn't visit you, but I was actually on my way to propose to you when you did this. Like, okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Can you just say you love me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have told her she loved her earlier and it would have been just as dramatic. We didn't need that more drama to be like, I'm going to India, I'm leaving, and him being like, okay, well, she's leaving to India. Like, I didn't need that.
It was unnecessary. I don't know why they made some of the decisions they made, because they made so many great ones, but then they made more bad ones. Like, you know, the chemistry of the actors cannot save the season. And that's not me saying I hated the season, because I didn't really dislike the season. I just did not love it as much as I wanted to. It feels very much like a sophomore slump, like a sophomore slip, you know? And this story deserved better. And if they want to throw COVID on it, I'm throwing COVID on it. I don't know if they are. I would have waited till December of this year for them to give me the show that we deserved.
Absolutely. Like, I'm going to give you guys COVID, but if you do this again, like, I don't know if you'll have a season 4. Like, I don't know what type of viewership would stick around when you set up something, you don't deliver it, and then you derail so far from the source material. Like, you have to give people something, and this just was no way in line of the first season.
Also, I thought it was an interesting choice that they decided not to have the Duke at least show up once.
I didn't miss him at all, but he left the show.
Yeah, but like, why was Daphne hanging? Like, I don't know. Just have him in one scene.
He left the show, so they couldn't even use him if they wanted to.
Oh, I didn't catch that. I don't read the papers.
Missed for me. Like,
I didn't miss him.
I didn't need him.
You didn't need him. I'm just interested.
I mean, Daphne could come see her family while he's handling the estate. I don't care. I like her better than I like him, so it works out.
That's true. I guess it's also because I like the Duke in the book.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agreed. But this is like, because we're discussing this from a book reader perspective, right? We're not discussing this from a purely viewer perspective. It's kind of like Harry Potter fans who watch the movies versus people who only watch the movies. You know, like, there's a reason why I hate the Prisoner of Azkaban movie, and it's everyone's favorite movie. It's my favorite book. I think the movie's trash.
Yeah, so and you're not wrong. Where's our serious story?
Yeah. Where's that relationship, guys?
We robbed Harry of the one family relationship he had.
So,
I mean, Goblet of Fire is my favorite book. Spew does not show up in the movie.
They're like, we don't have time for Spew. I'm like, you don't have time for elf rights? Anyway, I digress. So, like, I know if people are watching this and think that all we're doing is shitting on the season, I don't want anyone to think that's what we're doing, because we're just discussing how different it is from what the source material is. I am so curious, for those who haven't read the books and have only watched the series, what this was like for you. So comment that. Let us know, because I don't have that perspective anymore. I only had it for the first season, and I actually still really love the first season and have rewatched it since reading the book. So, but I don't think I will rewatch this one, or really I'll only watch their scenes and then be done.
I'm going to rewatch it because that's what I do. You know, I rewatch things. It's comfort when you're sick to just, you know, watch a show you've already seen before. Because if you close your eyes and fall asleep during it, it doesn't matter.
That's true. That's fair.
But
I agree.
But I do know that I'll play favoritism. It'll be season 1 over season 2. Or it'll be particular episodes in season 2. Because 6, 7, fantastic. The rest, hurry up.
What about you, Maggie? Will you be doing a rewatch?
I probably will not rewatch this show anytime soon. If I were to, it'd be because you guys say like, "Hey, remember this scene?" And I'm like, "No," and then I'll go back and watch it. Have I reread the book? Absolutely. I actually kind of like skimmed through it before we had this discussion, but like, yeah, I think I rewatched season 1 twice, and I was like, okay, I'm done.
Mhm.
And then I just don't think I'll rewatch it. It was okay.
Yeah.
I'm happy I watched it because I need to watch it to get to season 3 for Benedict and Sophie.
Exactly. I'm a little sad they used this season as a filler season to like progress the other stories along, but I guess it's what had to be done.
But I think that is also like something I did like about this season is it was a foundation season. Like I got a little bit of every kid. We still don't have Francesca. We're just gonna pretend she doesn't exist, but I got a little bit of every kid. We've set up their like backstory lines. We've kind of laid a foundation for Colin and Penelope. Like these things I'm excited for. And I didn't want us to just come into them without having these little bits. I think I just want to make it clear that I think the liberties they took with the Kate and Anthony story were a little unnecessary and kind of knocked a lot of the romance out of it. And at the end of the day, this is a romance series. And you can't take romance from a romance series.
Yeah. Well, that's all I have, you guys. Do you guys have anything else?
I wish Newton was in it more.
Oh, Newton. He's a corgi in the book and he's a corgi in the show.
And he has his tail, which I was like, that is accurate. Because they didn't start cutting off tails until later. So I'm like, yeah.
Well, guys, thank you for watching this with us. Thank you for commenting your thoughts, because I know you will. You've had so many thoughts on our Bridgerton non-spoiler review, so I'm sure you'll have plenty more for this spoilery review. So before we get out of here, Kiki, say your goodbyes and let everyone know where they can find you.
Goodbye, my friends. Of course, you will always find me at SLT Angst because, I smell like teen angst. And you can also find me on social medias, all of them, at The Life of Kiki. And then nowhere else. Please don't follow me anywhere else.
Maggie.
Hi. I don't really social media, so I'm really boring. I just post a lot of memes I think are hilarious. At maggieneo.instagram.com. I don't remember.
And you're always doing reviews with us here. It smells like teen angst. So
yes.
Yes. And I'm Sarah. As always, you will find me here on this channel. I also guested over on Lost in the Reel, where Sean and I do a whole discussion about season 2. He is only a show viewer, so it was interesting to see actually how much him and I aligned this season. But until next time, make sure you like this video, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell. Don't miss out on any more of our angsty videos. Bye.
Bye.